In a recent report, an Indian parliamentary panel made a fascinating claim. To protect the environment and stop deforestation, the country needs to aggressively expand its aluminum industry. The ground zero for this policy is the Western Ghats, specifically the Sahyadri Tiger Reserve. Up in these mountains are lateritic plateaus, locally known as Sadas. These rocky flatlands are highly porous. They act as massive natural sponges, soaking in the intense monsoon rains and slowly releasing that water year-round to feed 14 major rivers. This exact 80-kilometer stretch of plateau forest also serves a vital biological function. It is a primary migration corridor for tigers moving north from Karnataka into Maharashtra. But sitting directly beneath that porous rock is an estimated 113 million tons of bauxite, the raw ore used to make aluminum. Mining corporations are pushing to extract it, framing the destruction of these forests as a necessary step for national self-reliance. The drive to build modern, so-called green infrastructure is actively targeting one of the world's most delicate and life-sustaining ecosystems. When a mining company encounters a legally protected forest, they deploy a specific bureaucratic playbook. Step 1. Redraw the map. The Western Ghats are governed by an Eco-Sensitive Area, or ESA, notification. Its design is straightforward. It strictly prohibits all new mining activities within designated forest boundaries. To bypass this, the state government proposed carving out 388 specific villages from those ESA protections. The explicit purpose of this adjustment is to remove the legal barriers blocking bauxite extraction. If a corporation cannot legally mine inside a protected forest, the easiest political solution is to simply erase the forest from the official record. Step 2 of the playbook is to manipulate the science. You can see this happening right now with the environmental impact assessments for the proposed Gangur and Parli mines. These official reports systematically ignore second-order effects. They operate on the assumption that the ecological damage will stop neatly at the edge of the mining pit. What they leave out is hydrology. Stripping the plateau of its topsoil permanently destroys its capacity to absorb water. This guarantees severe flash floods during the monsoon and dry streams in the summer. They also ignore acoustics. The constant noise from blasting and heavy machinery creates an invisible wall of sound that immediately disrupts tiger migration routes. There is zero historical reason to trust these oversight processes. Nearby, the Durgman Wadi mines operated without mandatory wildlife clearances for nearly a decade. The official science used to rubber stamp these projects treats a highly interconnected, living landscape as if it were just an isolated, lifeless rock. Step 3 involves the mandatory public hearings. This is where corporations attempt to manufacture local consent by promising high-paying jobs and 24/7 water supplies. But we can look directly at these Marathi language transcripts from the public hearings to see what the locals actually think. The residents testified that heavy mining trucks tear up their narrow rural roads, while intense bauxite dust drifts over their fields, suffocating their crops. When people push back, the response is severe. Hearings are held under heavy police presence. Locals have even alleged that acid was poured onto healthy trees to kill them off, allowing the Forest Department to artificially reclassify biodiverse land as barren. The democratic process of environmental consultation has been weaponized. It is now just a theater of compliance designed to actively silence the indigenous and local communities who actually live there. Once the mine opens, the reality is bleak. The promised jobs are short-lived. The local water sources become polluted with silt, and the traditional triad of water, forest, and land is permanently broken. This is a harsh geological reality. The lateritic crust of these plateaus took millions of years to form. Once you excavate it for bauxite, you cannot simply replant a few trees and expect the ecosystem to recover. If the Gangur and Parli mining blocks proceed, they will completely sever the Radhanagari-Chandoli forest corridor. This would trigger the collapse of Maharashtra's multi-million-dollar tiger translocation program, and the global stakes are just as high. UNESCO has issued a severe warning that these mining operations could force the Sahyadri sites to be downgraded to the red category of World Heritage Sites in danger. A true transition to green energy cannot be built on a foundation of ecological fraud. solving the climate crisis requires listening to the frontline communities protecting these forests, not the corporations intent on destroying them.